Welcome back to a little update video. As always, I'm using the Fractal theory, explanation video, tutorial, rules, and so on and so on. I will link at the end of the video. Okay, well then let's jump into AMC. One little thing, yeah. This today, I really try, yeah, to make a good professional video. It will be maybe a little bit shorter, but because it's already now 7 a.m. here in my country, with the exception I am 30 hours awake. Yeah? This video today is really only for you. Yeah, just so we get a video out before the market is closing this week. I don't really need that today. Yeah, it's really only for you. There shouldn't be, oh, you poor guy. No, blah, blah, blah. Just saying it's also not for, hey, be grateful. No, it's just if, I don't know, if I seem a little bit tired or sad or what, or low energy, doesn't mean anything with tracking. I am just tired. Okay. But I'm trying. For AMC, nothing really changed this week. I already said that on Monday when we broke $3. If you're not seeing a really push on Tuesday, the rest of the week will be for AMC, because the rest of the market, we will talk about that, was fucking crazy. But the rest of the week should be boring as fuck for AMC. And it was. So, for the first question, do I see a chance to do something really stupid? And with really stupid, I mean breaking 7, 8, 9, 10, 50, 100 next week. And do I believe that so much that I would buy weeklies? Because if you looked, there are weekly option chains again for AMC. And for this case right now, I have to say no. I give it a tiny chance, but not enough to go into YOLO weeklies. Just saying. First, we go in the normal tracking. And here we have two possibilities. The absolute bullish one would be, here's our peak, Monday. The next day or in the same day, we made this little lower high. Here, this little lower high. This would be our M. This would be already our, on August 5th, our T. This here, let's go a little bit lower on the time frame, would be already our V, and we already did a little higher low. In that case, we should go up tomorrow, Friday. And we should break through here. Yeah. To make that absolutely clear, everything over 274 would be already bullish. Everything over 294, and we could see something next week. Yeah, because if we do that, I don't really see a bigger pullback. Yeah, but this is micro tracking, and I don't like this version so much. Yeah, for me, this candle here on August 3rd was our lower high, and this on August 5th was our M. In my opinion, we still need a T. Yeah. In that case, we only have to look at this trend here. That has nothing to do with my version of tracking. It's just a normal trend line. And it's the most conservative one, where you have here the touch point, the start. Here you have 3. Here you came close. And here you broke it. Yesterday and today. No, yesterday. You broke this trend. Even without my version, that's not so bullish. Yeah, you broke the uptrend. So for my main version, I think we will come up again. But I would say you will retest this trend, and this will become your T. And then we need one lower low than 254. I would say 245 would be a good bounce level. Yeah, something here, or 240, 245. Yeah, and then we can go up again. Yeah. Before we go into the side-by-sides, which have a different look for the levels, again, everything over 274 would be already bullish. Everything over 294, and I think we will go up. To the downside, nothing changed. In my opinion, we are not allowed to break or touch 212. Yeah. If we do that, in my opinion, this peak in August 3rd is very likely the peak of 2026. You will bounce here, but the absolute confirmation after that would be a lower high, and the rest of the year, not a knife, but a static downtrend, you will go to all-time low. Yeah. The absolutely confirmation is our old level 160. The only problem I have with 160 as a confirmation level, I don't think we will see that in the next weeks. Why? Yeah, because you will go down, you will bounce, lower high, everyone will scream, squeeze, 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 and then you will slowly grinding down. I would say if we do this bearish version, which I don't think, but we always should have alternatives, this would be October, November, yeah, maybe a little bit earlier, end of September. I don't think we will see this level so quick. Yeah, and after that, you do your M and then your T, and then you fold under your all-time low. Yeah, that's for me the alternative. I don't think that, but we always should have one. Okay, now to the side-by-side. So, my older viewers already know that. Yeah. I still think we have a very, and it's my main tracking, very good possibility that we are sitting exactly at January 15, 2021. Just to make it clear, both charts is AMC, both chart 1 hour. Left chart is today, right side is January 2021 from the 5th November to the 15th November. And I'm still the opinion that we are in the first candle of January 15, this one. Why? Because here's our $3 line. Here's our $3 line. Yeah, we broke slightly through it. We broke slightly through it, and we instantly pulled back. We instantly pulled back. I would say that we maybe already did the second one because it was just a nothing burger. This just a nothing burger. In that case, I could see next week this third candle. Yeah, this third candle would bring us over $3 again. And if we're not gapping, then I would say that this candle here should bring us between 350 to 4-ish. Yeah, something like that. Then the question is, do we have to do these candles here too? If yes, yeah, that would mean we would come back again. Everyone will say market manipulation, and we would have to come lower than wherever our bottom is here. Yeah, a little bit here. Then 2 boring candles. Next try. Yeah, and as I said in the last video, for me, there's, if you're bullish, only one question. If we break here again, yeah, or after we have done this, or if we just jump it with volume, do we gap and doing something really stupid, yeah, and gapping to 1 part or 2 part squeeze, or do we have to do January 20 to January 22nd still? Yeah, I'm still the opinion no one can absolutely say if we have to do that or if we get enough volume that we don't have to do it. Yeah, because volume is the only thing which can make us, which let us jumping landmark. Yeah, right now we have better volume than usual. Yeah, 80 million, but it's lower than what we had here. So let's see. One more last thing before we go into the next trackings. Because of options. I already said on Monday, I think, was it Monday? It was early this week, that I'm rolling my August to December. And I said, because if we're not doing something stupid and we start doing this crappy pullback, these options will fall. The last time when I looked today, they're sitting between 2 and 1 cent. And that was the reason. Not because I think there is no chance that we do something stupid till the 21st. No, just because if not, you can't get out of them. We are in the end of third week. We only have 2 weeks left. They're already sitting now between 2 and 1 cent, and I'm talking about the max strikes. Yeah. If we're not seeing something stupid next week, and if we're just doing this pullback, they may be sitting again at 2 and 1 cent. And in the last week, if we're not doing something stupid, and for the last week it really has to be something stupid, there won't even be you won't even come out of them. That's why. That's why I'm out of them in the beginning of the third week. And when I hear anybody saying, hey, no problem, August 21st contracts are 100% safe, I can only say to this person, doesn't mean man or woman, doesn't matter, this guy is a fucking, I think you know what I mean. Yeah, it's such an stupid move to say they are 100% safe if there are only 2 weeks left. It doesn't matter how big your conviction is. It doesn't matter. The risk, if you tell somebody who has maybe no clue about options that they are 100% safe, is really, it's not even stupid. It's way more evil to say something like that. That's the reason. Yeah. So for AMC, we need fucking volume. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Then let's jump into BYND. Also for BYND, just a little update today. We had earnings behind us. First of all, it was good earnings. Yeah, you see here, 139 surprise revenue, 10% higher. Yeah, of course, the expectations were too high, as always, but again, I say it again, I don't want to convince anybody, but again, good earnings, but we fell down. Yeah, you want to tell me again that fundamentals are very important for a stock? Yeah, of course, some people will now say, yeah, the guidance was bad. I don't know. I didn't really read much about that, but I think the last thing I read that the guidance for next quarter is better than this quarter. So even maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm right, then also this is bullshit. Just saying again, fundamentals doesn't matter. Next thing before we go into tracking, I said I don't like running into earnings. I like it way more if something is falling into earnings, because then the probability, except tracking, also without tracking, is higher. Where we run into earnings, and then on earnings we knifed, and today we knifed a little bit more. Okay. For the tracking, well, it would have been nice if we would have held this higher low. We clearly didn't, and I'm not a guy who is sitting here and will tell you, hey, okay, this is a lower high. A lower low. But I don't care. I track this as a higher low. Yeah. You know who I mean. Yeah. If not, don't care. Yeah. But okay, this is not a higher low anymore. Yeah, this broke. But as I said in the previous video and in the comments, the only thing I really wanted from BYND for earnings is holding over 50 cents. Anything else would have been a bonus. We hold it. Okay. That's a plus. Yeah. Also, we talked about that, I think 3 videos before or something like that. That was back here, I think. It was back here, I think. That we're still looking for this little hump here. Yeah. Clearly this wasn't a hump because this went way too low. So I tried again. I will also explain why in a second, but this hump here could or has to be this hump here. For bullish tracking, it has to be this hump here. The only question is, do we need all this still or not? Yeah. If you watch really how do you call it? Carefully. Yeah. You made this hump. You made after that the lower low. Then you went the sideways and made one lower low. A really slightly one. Yeah. A really, really slightly one. We maybe have to do this still, but we don't have really much room. Yeah, we're sitting right now. We got a pretty good bounce today, a little one. We're sitting right now at 53. If we do another little higher low, it gets really, really fucking close because again, we are not allowed to break the low from October. We not even have allowed to touch it. No double buttons. And even if it's only 1 cent over it, no double buttons. And to make it absolutely clear which level we are not allowed to break, we are not allowed to break or touch 50, 0, 2, or 1 cent. To make it absolutely clear, we are not allowed to break that. What happens if you do that? We will talk in a second. So as long as we're staying over this fucking shit level here, there's a chance. So why I'm looking at this here? Because I already explained it in the last video. Because you can nearly 1-to-1 compare this to 1-to-1 to this. Yeah, you have the same landmarks. You have the same landmarks, just smaller. And in that case, that's why I'm looking at this. In that case, you have here your T, like this T. You make this pullback. You make this pullback. You even, and that's the stupid thing, you even run up. Yeah, yeah. You even run up into earnings. You knife on earnings and you do a lower low on earnings. Okay, this earnings was bad earnings officially. And here it was good earnings, but it's the same move. So again, it only depends if we do have to do this. And if we have to do this, and if we have to do this slightly lower low here, the only thing which we aren't allowed to is breaking or touching 50 cents. Then everything is okay. Before we go to the bearish version or to the explanation what the bearish version means, to the levels. Of course, 50, bad. Everything over 66 would be already bullish. And everything over 80, our old level, is confirmation that we finally can stop talking about 50 cents. Now the thing, what happens if you're breaking 50? The problem, if you're breaking 50, this is a new all-time low. That means that this big macro higher low is not a higher low anymore. It becomes T. Yeah. And the best example I have for that is FFI, because we did it twice. We broke our macro higher low back then in February 2026, and you got a knife. And then we broke the next higher low, yeah, in July 2026, and you got a knife, yeah. And that's the normal way what happens if you break a T. And if you break a macro T, yeah, it's even worse because, I mean, look at that. It's 100% down, yeah. And with a reverse split. That's why if we break 50 for beyond, you normally get a knife. And this is a big landmark. I would look for 30 to 10 cents even. Same as FFVI before the reverse split. And besides price, again, Beyond already voted for a reverse split. And I really think if we fall that low, they will do that. Remember, it doesn't matter how nice these guys are, how much bullshit they are talking in promos or videos, or how much they are saying, we love our stockholders. We would never do that. I tell you, if you fall that, they fuck you. Really. You, me, they don't fucking care. They want to stay solvent and that Beyond is staying on the NASDAQ. And if they kill 50% of their shareholder base, they don't fucking care. Yeah, especially not about us retail. They don't care. And reverse split is not nice for us. But let's say we drop 27 cents. If we do that, yeah, we're not doing a reverse split. Would that be still okay? No. The main problem here is, except price, this would be still macro T. We would still need a macro higher low. Yeah. And in that case, it would look something like this. Maximum as $3-4. I would even say $1, $2 maximum. And for time, this will be till next year. Yeah. Not the run. The run up could be, as always, pretty brutal to the upside. But first, this could take a while. Yeah. As always, the pullbacks for Beyond are slow. Yeah. The uptrends are fucking great, high. But even the pullback of the higher low. Yeah. You only have to measure this. Doesn't matter if you're bullish or bearish. This took 87 days. This brings you easily into summer next year. So it would be also time would be bullshit. Yeah. Time, the danger of a reverse split, the price. Yeah. That's why for me personally, you don't have to follow me. You don't have to believe me. I am 100% out if you break or touch 50. Yeah. I will still track it. I will still look at it, but I get 100% bearish if you do that. And if it's only, to make that also clear, if it only is 1 second, I don't care. Breaking level, even with a wick, is breaking level. And because I have 2 examples today, because I sometimes get this messages, all fractals are going bad. Yeah, no, really, that's a false observation. What is right? What did we lost this year? We lost FFI went bearish, GNS went bearish, FLNA went bearish, maybe Beyond will go bearish. But what have all these stocks in common? They are all penny stocks. Most penny stocks go fucking shit. Right, I give you that. But I will show now 2 other ones, yeah, which are not penny stocks, where the fractal is bullish and, in my opinion, will stay bullish. And the next thing is, the third one is Fusel. Look at Fusel. Perfect tracking, massive upside, massive bullish. It's just, I know why people like penny stocks. They are fucking cheap. But you have to think about it. They are cheap because of a reason. Yeah. Okay. So for Beyond, fucking stay over 50. Next one is Unity. And Unity is the perfect example for a not penny stock. Maybe it's a meme stock, slightly. Yeah. But I was tracking this since October 2025, I think, something like that. And it's a fucking bullish version. We have also the alternative. We come to that, but back then we had on the day. I really want to say that we tracked on the day this knife. On the day, yeah, 1 week before. We talked about this on exactly that day. Without news, we got the knife. The only thing which was wrong back then, I thought that this was already the low, yeah, and we made a lower low after that. That wasn't, but the knife was perfect. For Unity, for the bullish version, it's perfect. All-time low was August 2024. This whole thing is higher low. And since February, I didn't make really updates video on that in the last time because nothing changed. Yeah. This trend line here, yeah, went from down here, just this. I didn't had to do anything or something. It was just old tracking and no changes. Yeah. The important thing is, especially we had now earnings. Yeah. Was it earnings? Yeah. Was earnings, and we got a pretty good push. Now we are sitting at an inflection point. To make that absolutely clear, we have to break this trend. Yeah, we are not allowed to go down here. That's the alternative. Yeah, we have to go over at least 48.71. Yeah, this would be already bullish. Absolutely confirmation would be 51. Yeah, then the downside is for me off the table. Next level has to be over T for our macro. That means over 58. And if we take just the FIBs, I would say 95, yeah, for our A. And then a 0.5 breakout retest. And then our next level is B, which has to be over 110 because it has to be over M. 0.5 pullback and then breaking all-time highs or not. Pretty straightforward. The alternative, if we reject here, and we are fighting right now with this trend line. I'm not saying that, oh God, this is already a rejection. No. I would say everything under 30 is bearish. Everything under 28 is too low for me. Yeah. Then I really get bearish. What would happen if we do that? Well, then this would become T. And we would have to do a new all-time low. And then we would just repeating what we did with the bullish version right now. We break out, go under the lower T, and B stays the same. That's all. Just it would take more time, yeah, because we would still have to go lower. We maybe have to do a higher low here again. And of course, we would have to do a new all-time low. Yeah, that would be the bearish alternative. And I would say if we break 28, I maybe even look for puts because from 28 under 12, that's a good play. Yeah, just saying. But both versions are absolutely clear. And again, it's not a penny stock. Even if we go the bearish route, we don't have, personal opinion, we don't have to fear a reverse split. We don't have to fear bankruptcy because we are sitting at fucking $40. And even with the new all-time low, okay, then we may be sitting at $10. There is no risk of it's over for this company. Yeah, just saying. Okay, next one, because it was asked, is SOUN. That's the opposite of Unity because I'm bearish on SOUN, but I was bearish on SOUN since the beginning. It's also a very, very old tracking. I also think I showed that from here. I don't know anymore. Yeah, somewhere in here I started showing it. From the beginning on, I was bearish. Also with this earnings, what we are talking in a second. For the tracking, all-time low, December 22. Then we did here our small higher low. then we did our A with pullback, then we did our B with pullback, and then we broke all-time highs, which is for me our C. This whole big thing here and this little peak in October 2025 was for me our lower high, and this peak here in May 2026 is still for me our macro M. I wanted to be transparent after we broke this level here that we will knife. Yeah, that was my main tracking. But now for earnings, we went up. So let's zoom in this. The only thing why I'm still bearish is, first of all, my previous trend line was like this here, to make that absolutely clear. And in that case, you could say, haha, we broke the trend, we are bullish, right? My only problem with this is a nice rejection, really nice rejection. You know, for my levels, if we would have broken 10, and the same, if we do that now too, my bearish tracking is wrong. Yeah, if you go over 10, then something is wrong, and that would be bullish. If not, yeah, as I said, it depends who is drawing the trend line and if he wants to be bullish or bearish. Just saying, yeah. This right now, yeah, this peak here, if we still continue downside, I would say this is the little M of M. What do I mean with that? Here we have our peak, lower high, down, up, midpoint. Yeah, it's nearly, I mean, to make that absolutely clear, Fractal is always repeating itself. And I mean, you have a peak, you make a big cup for your lower high. Yeah, you have a peak, you make a big cup for your lower high. Yeah? Then you fall down from your lower high. Then you fall down from your lower high, and then you go quite straight up. And then you go quite straight up. You know, I could be wrong. Yeah, but fractals are repeating. I still think this thing will really go down. To what? Well, especially if we go down now, my next target would be here, 328. Yeah. We should bounce here, probably. Go up to this trend line again. This would be then our macro T. My overall target is V&A. V&A is 151. Yeah. That is my overall target. I would say end of year, early next year. Yeah, maybe. No financial advice. But also, even if I'm bearish on this, for SoundHound, I'm not concerned about reverse split. I'm not concerned about bankruptcy. Not yet. Yeah. It's not a penny stock yet. Yeah, because it's sitting at $7. Under $5, it is a penny stock, but it would still sit over $1. Yeah, I think it's a good put play. Yeah, you have to decide. But again, it's a nice Fractal, and it's a normal company. Just my opinion. Okay, before we go into the market overview, a little update on the YOLO play, HKD. And again, to make that absolutely clear, because it seems that some still don't understand what I mean with YOLO play. The same like GDC, okay? YOLO play means it is 90% or even higher likely it will go bearish, or not bear, because we also could have a bearish YOLO play. No, it will fail, to make it absolutely clear. YOLO play is even more risky than playing AMC. Okay? Absolutely YOLO play. Expect to lose. I don't know how to say that better. Okay? Expect to lose. So, for HKD, nothing really changed except it getting more and more interesting. Yeah, we have our C, low high, midpoint, T, V. Yeah. And since our all-time low, yeah, this was our little higher low, another higher low, uptrending. Yeah, so that will come in a second. The interesting part about HKD is, first, no option chain. Yeah, for some people that's bad. For me, in some cases, that's interesting because stocks without the option chain can sometimes do really stupid things. Squeezes with 10, 20,000% in a day. And I mean really 10,000%, not options 10,000%. And that is fucking crazy. And for HKT, you see here, no splits, 0 splits. That means that these numbers here are real. IPO ran from $13 to $2,000. That's not split adjusted. This was a real number. And since then, we didn't do a reverse split. It's possible again. And the same thing is, if you look, HKD is always doing the same. It runs up, pulls back, doing nothing, gets boring, nobody cares. Massive run. Nothing, boring, massive run. Nothing, boring, massive run. Yeah. And these runs are from 17,000% to 500% to 200%. The even more interesting part is, yeah, whatever this thing is doing, if it lives or die. If it lives, there is no landmark left anymore. I mean, I'm not saying there's no landmark here anymore. No, there's no macro landmark anymore. We have our lower high. We have our midpoint. We have our T. We maybe had our V and higher low. What comes after that? Macro A, macro B. But normally, I would now say our macro A has to sit over $5. Our macro B has to sit over 52. But you never see A and B. In not a single run, you saw A and B. So if, please, really, if something is happening here, I see it easily be doing just this. Yeah, whatever target we have. Yeah, I would say at least over 52, no financial advice, but I could see, you know, the IPO was 7,000%. So if we do 7,000% right now, that would be 275. Maybe even crazier. Yeah. Same thing is, as always, I could now take a talk about levels. Yeah. I mean, let's do that. Everything over 2 is bullish. Everything over 266 is confirmation, and everything over 540, and you're already running. But as I showed before, I don't think you will have the possibility to get in when this thing is running, because it will just go. Yeah. It's again, and that's why it's a fucking YOLO play, because we have not the possibility to wait for confirmation. You risk it to play it or you leave it. Yeah. That's the only thing. For this little thing down here, first, you see this major trend line here, the big mega trend line. You could easily say we broke out of it and retested it multiple times, and then we made already a little trend change. Could be. If we then doing this major trend line, we always, since 2025 December, we bounced on this trend line. And if we take this trend line, then, you know, I mean, it's getting to a point here where, in my opinion, it has to decide. It can just be fucking stupid and doing nothing, of course. Yeah. Or breaking upside or downside. But I think we're coming to a point where it should decide something. For downside, yeah, I mean, I would say everything under this main trend line, the bullish version, would be bad. Yeah. And confirmation is everything under 126. Yeah. Yeah. As I said, YOLO play. To make it clear, I have 600 stocks of this. I'm looking maybe once a day into it. I have some alerts in my broker. If we do that, yeah. Again, YOLO play. Be careful. Okay, and for the end, we will look at VIX. So again, for the easy explanation, volatility index, VIX down means market up, VIX up means market down. But this is only the easy explanation where we talk a little bit about the other one. We're only looking from August 2024 till today. This is our top, our C, lower high, midpoint. I'm still the opinion this midpoint is not finished yet. The last time we were talking about it was here, I think. Yeah. Tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Sometimes I really come a little bit straight and whatever. Sometimes I forget what I already said, what I showed on the last videos. But the main tracking here was always this M is not finished, and we still have to come down under 1333. And since then, we are falling. And we will look at that in NASDAQ and SPY today. We got a fucking squeeze this week, and it's not nothing else than a squeeze what we did this week. I'm still the opinion we have to come down more. Yeah, that's the crazy part. I don't think that the squeeze is already finished. And I could be wrong. Yeah. And I said that already in the last videos. And sometimes I look too small on VIX. I'm tending to that this T has no landmarks left. Yeah, we have our C here, lower high, midpoint, T. We will talk about this candle in a second. I still think we have to go down. Still. We still have a little gap here open between 1495 and 1514. And we still have a bigger gap open. Yeah. Between 1351 and 14. Yeah. So I still think we have to go down here. Yeah. My bounce level is between 1340 and 1268. And to make that clear, we could go lower. But if VIX coming into this range, it's getting fucking dangerous that VIX is bouncing. What do I mean with that? The M is finished here, 1338. Anywhere here, we will get a bounce. And this bounce will bring VIX easily up to 25. If we're doing that, we should do that. Not if, we should do that. This is a market correction between 5 and 10% for NASDAQ and VIX, NASDAQ and SPY, and IWM. This should come, in my opinion. Yeah. But before that, we should get a market rally. So before we go into SPY and NASDAQ, the thing is, first of all, people were a little bit surprised that we had a running SPY, running NASDAQ, but also an uptrending VIX. Also, yesterday, people were surprised that we had a falling NASDAQ, falling SPY, and also a falling VIX. Because normally, I agree, that is very abnormal. So people were talking manipulation. Yeah. But the thing is, first of all, we had a fucking squeeze. Volatility index, it's the name. Volatility. If you're getting a fucking squeeze, it can happen that when NASDAQ and SPY especially are squeezing, and it was nothing else than a squeeze, that the volatility index is getting so volatile that it also runs up. The same thing for yesterday, where NASDAQ and SPY fell, but also VIX fall. That only mean one thing. that there was no pen, in my opinion. I could be wrong, okay? It's just how I understand it. That only means that nobody was panic buying puts. Everybody expected this pullback. And that's why there was no volatility. And that's why VIX fell. We will look at that in a second. But this candle here, nothing happened in the market. This was just a 1 second candle up, and then it was instant down. Nothing happened in the market. In my opinion, this candle had to be there, because this had to be, maybe it's not T, maybe it's just M, could be, yeah, but this candle had to be there, because if this would have happened slowly, yeah, then we would get a bigger drop in Nasdaq and SPY. And if the fractal isn't allowed to do that, we will look at that in a second, this candle had to be there. So it had to happen. And that's why you had a 1 second up, 1 second down, in my opinion. Good. Then let's look into Nasdaq. And before we go into micro tracking, also into SPY. Because if you look at that, this is a squeeze. And to say that, I hope for everybody, and I congratulate everybody who played that. Because, man, just to say that, I think it was here. Was it here? No. Here. Yeah. No, here. Yeah. I bought 40 contracts of SPY here. It was a little YOLO play, yeah, and it was a quite cheap YOLO play, because I bought for this week Friday 771s, yeah, here, yeah. I bought them. I don't know how much it was, 8 cents or something like that, or something. My God, was that stupid? That nearly never happens. Nearly never happens. But this was a fucking squeeze. So, but the thing is, why did VIX fall MIF SPY and MIF Nasdaq? My opinion is because SPY broke all-time highs. And you see that it's a vertical fucking running candle, even from here to here. That's 5%. I think quite everybody expected there should be a pullback. There should be. SPY is normally not just going up. And because everyone expected this pullback, there was no panic. Everyone said, oh, yeah, okay, pullback. Okay, after 5%. Okay, yeah. And that's why VIX just said, okay, fuck it. No volatility. I go down with the market. That's for me the reason. Yeah. Now for the tracking. So normally, I would say there is now a big possibility that SPY is doing a breakout retest. Yeah. That would mean 2% down. Could happen, to make it clear. But with my VIX tracking, no. I think maybe we see a little bit more downside today, Friday, today, yeah. But I would still say upside next week. Could be wrong. Be careful. But this is only SPY. What I am looking for, SPY broke all-time highs. IWM broke all-time highs. Who didn't broke all-time highs? Nasdaq. And except for SPY, I think that this could be already the breakout retest for the Nasdaq. I mean, okay, also Nasdaq could still do a real breakout retest. Yeah. For SPY to touch the broadening wedge, it would be 2%. For Nasdaq, it would be 180%. So possible. The difference for me here is Nasdaq is lagging behind again. because NASDAQ is the only little shithole which didn't break all-time highs. And if NASDAQ is again lagging behind SPY, NASDAQ should do something like this. And this is 8%. If it's slightly doing the same thing as SPY, I don't know what should happen in that case. Maybe Trump is making peace again over the weekend or whatever. But I am tending to this. I really have to say. Yeah. In the next 2 weeks, no financial advice. I can only say I really want to see what we are doing today, Friday. If we're doing this pullback, and that's just me, no financial advice, and we're coming at the close near this trend line, I think I will do something stupid as here again. Yeah. Buy a lot of cheap out of the money calls. Yeah. Big out of the money calls. Anything over all-time highs for NASDAQ for the next 2 weeks. Let's see. Yeah. What is the alternative is if we break under this, and to make that clear, let's look. If we break under this, everything under 690 for NASDAQ, this is a no-no line. Yeah. Because if we track this, this is a V, this has to be our A. With this massive pullback, this has to be a B. And as always, B isn't allowed to break the 786. If we come under this, oh no. Something is wrong and bad. I just can't see that yet. Yeah. I'm still fucking bullish, and I think this was just the start of the squeeze. Whatever will come. Okay. Good. I hope that video was okay today. Yeah. For all the rest, and sorry, I know I think I forgot some wishes. I will try to do a weekend updated video. It's fucking summer and I'm so full of work. I don't know if I'm able to do a weekend update video this weekend. If not, I really will do a Monday, Tuesday video, as always. If something crazy is happening, also tomorrow, AMC is crashing, AMC is running up, whatever. You see that? I will always do, if I see something, write a post on YouTube and will update the homepage, which is free. Yeah. There is no costs. Yeah. If I see something really is changing, the first thing I'm doing, I update it on the homepage. Just look once a day into it. You have this little button with newest Fractal updates. Click on it and you see if something was changing. Yeah. If I really have no time for a video, this page, if I see something really is changing, the update is there. And for the rest, nothing broke levels and quite everything looks perfect. So yeah, okay. As always, tutorial video here, playlist here. Very old big roadmap video with the price targets for AMC, for example, back here. As always, if you liked it, you can leave a like. If you want to see more, you can leave an abo. And let's see how this week is ending. See ya.